Welcome back to Restaurant Review. I'm your host, Bob Bockelman. We haven't seen you in a while. As you know, we've done back-to-back programs on Artist Review, and we hope you've enjoyed those two very talented New Orleanians who are now New Orleanians, who are painting their way to stardom. We hope you appreciated those shows, and we know you have because several of you called in. But today, we're almost back to our regular format. Now, what do we mean by that? As you know, many times we'll do a special deal, either for something for a not-for-profit that involves the restaurants for their gala, to give you all better exposure to what goes on in our city. But all of them involve food in some respect. And that's especially the one we want to do today. This is one that's going on right now every October, for the month of October. Germans everywhere celebrate what you probably heard of, Oktoberfest, Festival October. So do we. We long-standing have had a wonderful institution known as the Deutsche House. And in the Deutsche House, for the month of October, is a great, great restoration of the traditions of old. We can't travel, many of us, to Europe or to Germany itself. We have it right in our neighborhood, and we don't even know about it, some people, even though it's been going on for many decades. So what we're going to do today is really give you a real taste and flavor of not only the Deutsche House, but Germany itself, and German music, food, etc. And with that, we always like to have a musician live, and we do. Today we have an accordionist by the name of Ron Abel, and he's going to do several German songs for us. And why don't we go ahead and get in the flavor, get in the mood before we meet our special guest, and let's see what Ron Abel will do for us. Take it away, Ron. Very nice, and I hope you enjoyed that. It was Ron Abel, and he's going to be back for a couple more songs. He was accompanied by the lovely Frau Friedel Orway and Eva Sadler. She's French. I don't know what she's doing on this German show. Anyway, the important thing is they added beauty, and you don't need to see Dancing with the Stars. You hear dancing and poking with the, dancing with the Germans. Okay. What we're talking about today, as we mentioned, Deutsche House. It's a festival in October to celebrate. Every time there's a festival that you don't know what it is, they always say it celebrates the harvest. We don't know if that's the case or not, but we know someone who's going to tell us that. The president of Deutsche House is with us today, and his name is Keith Ollendorf. Keith, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to come on today.
Okay, correct my error. What is Oktoberfest?
Well, actually, Oktoberfest is a celebration of a wedding.
A wedding?
A wedding. There was a wedding between Prince Ludwig and his bride was Princess Teresa from...
when was this about? Last week?
No, this was in 1810.
Oh, so a few days ago.
So
okay.
it was a little while ago. And they celebrated their wedding. It was such a success, and everybody had such a good time that after that, they celebrated the anniversary thereafter, introducing beers and harvest and things like that also.
So it has a little to do with the harvest.
A little bit, but now it has a lot to do with it had started with a wedding.
Okay. All right. Well, that's great. Now, we celebrate, if I'm correct, Oktoberfest rightfully during the month of October. Is that right?
We do. The Germans don't. Germans, on the other hand, celebrate. Oktoberfest actually ends the first week of October. And goes. It's a 16-day festival in Munich.
Is it because the weather's so bad by the time October?
I think the weather has a lot to do with it. But they just celebrate. It's a 16-day festival in Munich, visited by over 6 million people.
Wow, wow. And as he said, the magic word, something besides food that we all equate to, beer. And we're going to be talking about a little bit more distinctly when we get to the beverage section after we go through the food. But tell us, during the month of October, I know you're not open every day. Well, first of all, tell us, where is the Deutsche House located? Some people in our city still don't even know. And when was it actually built?
Deutsche House was started in 1928. We're located at 200 South GALVEZ.
That's right off CANAL, in fact, behind the old Cox Cable Building,
correct,
right?
Correct.
That's been abandoned, I guess. And we have a lovely picture of the institution there.
And actually, if you look at the style, the building was actually built in 1910 as the Cumberland Telephone and Telegraph Exchange.
Okay.
And purchased by the Deutsche House is actually a meeting of all the German clubs that existed in the city at the time.
And how many do we have, or did we have?
Well, there was at least 5.
I bet there were a bunch. Now there's what?
Now there's, well, as far as the Deutsche House is the central location, it acts as an umbrella organization for any other smaller organizations that exist. There were various singing societies within the city. There was a Turnverein, which was a gymnastics club, a Deutsche Gesellschaft, which was a benevolent association, and they all came together in 1928 to form Deutsche House. From that, we still exist, the choirs, there's a men's choir and a ladies' choir that practice there every month. And so we have a direct lineage to the German immigrants and the German settlers and people that came here and formed the city and formed the Deutsche House.
Great, great. Now, more particular, if someone wanted to go, because again, what it is, as we mentioned, a festival of food and drink and dancing and music, something that we all can understand here in New Orleans. Since we're midway through October, a little bit beyond midway, what's remaining for them? When can they actually go to Deutsche House for the rest of October? And what days, what times, etc., so they can participate in the festival?
We have one more weekend, which is this Friday and Saturday.
Okay.
The gates open at 5 o'clock. Music starts at 6 o'clock. And food service starts at 5 o'clock.
And that's Friday and Saturday?
Friday and Saturday.
Not Sunday?
No Sunday.
Okay. But normally, I know we got you on late. We wanted to have you on earlier. But normally it runs the entire month of October on the weekends. Is that right?
Yes. We start the last weekend of September.
Oh, so you do it just like
when the Germans are closed,
finish
and we're
and
open,
then where they can fly over into 10 yards.
That's correct.
Exactly. Now tell us about, give us, without giving away too much numbers, how many people do you think normally attend?
Well, this year our numbers are really big, and it looks like we have well over 15,000 people.
Wow, 15,000. That's great. Now we have a couple more pictures of the interior of the building just to show folks. This is what I call him, the Willkommen Bear, the welcoming bear. Tell us a little about this great statue. It looks diminutive here, folks, but it's quite tall.
Yeah, well, this was a bear that was presented to the city of New Orleans from the city of Berlin in 1968, and it was actually originally housed at the River Gate.
Okay.
And once the River Gate was removed, then it was brought to the Deutsche House, where it has its home.
Okay. And here's a lovely piece of furniture. This is what, a china cabinet, or right?
We have a nice china cabinet that was built into the house. We put in different decorative things and mementos.
The next one is one of my favorite. Well, there's another one. Love it, with plates, beautiful German, presumably German pottery.
Yes, it is.
This is a little view of the grounds. You can see some of the.
Our beer garden.
That's your beer garden, right? Okay. And I thought we had one more picture on the interior. My favorite. Tell us what this is.
Well, this is a piece of German Gothic armor, a little decorative piece that we have in there. Part of a suit of armor, right? Yes, and it says, "Roar like a lion roars when the waiter does not fill your glass."
Wow, you people do anything for beer, huh?
Beer serious.
Okay, okay. All right, well, Keith, this is great. So, folks, remember, you can still attend, and once you see some of the food we show and see all the vivacious hospitality going on here, then I think you're certainly going to want to get in here for the end of the year. But in addition to that, there's also a serious side, and the reason why we want to say that, post-Katrina, we've had a lot of what we're calling rebuilding, but a lot of destruction and some rebuilding. And in conjunction with what our city forefathers want to do is really build up a great new medical corridor. As you know, we've had our old hospitals, charities, and some of those aren't coming back to us. But further down the road, they really came up with the idea of making it into a huge complex to hopefully not only treat our citizens, but be for research and development. The only sad thing about this, folks, is that the new property involves part of the property that the Dargis House is located. So what we wanted to do, and what we have for you today, gentlemen, to give you a little bit more information about that, they call it the Save the House program, so we can actually keep this, but certainly move forward to the thing. And we want to go ahead and listen to Rocky Troxler, who will tell us a little bit about it.
Yes, thank you, Bob. Some months ago, we downloaded this little diagram off of the internet, and it shows what appears to be sort of a conceptual plan for the two hospitals, VA and LSU, on each side of GALVEZ Street. And in red, I show where the Dargis House is located. And what that means is we have a little bit of a challenge here, because the Dargis House is located right center to where they appear to be planning to put the hospitals. And because of the value of the house and what we've done to bring it back after the storm, we're hoping to be able to preserve it in this location. And right now we're working with an effort to try to get in touch with the right people, and we've talked to some, to see if there isn't a way that we could ask them to shift this around a little bit and make a commercial corridor in here, little cafes and shops that would be a service to the hospital, and preserve our facility. Because we feel that the Dargis House would be an asset, because we have a place for them to recreate and perhaps even come have some professional meetings, and basically serve as a very unique facility to supplement hospital functions. So our effort is to try to work with these folks and exist on the property in a way to be a benefit to the hospitals. We've been there since 1928, and we hope that somehow we can continue that tradition and contribute to the cultural heritage of New Orleans. And we don't want to be another Ain't There No More. But anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And what we want to do in regards to that, I believe Rocky we have a website, because at least you can get on there and voice your opinion, and perhaps these things can be done in a petition. And I believe the website, Rocky, do you have it handy? Let's see, it's www, the traditional W cubed. And what is it after that?
Save the House, that's spelled H-A-U-S.
So it's Save the House, but it's spelled H-A-U-S, so that's the German spelling for house. You're learning a little German today. Hey, great. SaveTheHouse.com or org?
SaveTheHouse. SaveTheHouse.org.
So go in there. Why don't you register your feeling? And I think a lot of those will be accumulated and help toward petitioning the preservation. This is not an either-or battle from the perspective of the Deutsche House. They recognize this wonderful need that the city has and what we're doing. But as Rocky mentioned, there's no reason why this cannot be integrated with that. Obviously, the hospital personnel need to have functions. So that idea of a little market corridor along with the traditions of Germany would be a wonderful adjunct to that corridor. So hopefully something can be done, and we're looking for your help. So please, if you have computer access, or go to your library or ask a friend, see if you can go in there and put on a couple of good words, pass it along. Let's see if we can get help them out as much as we can with regard to saving the house. Okay, now let's go ahead and go to the meat of the matter, as you know, what we love. Keith and I, we've been there as we usually are. We've went last Friday night. I was able to get some pictures of the German food. They have a lot of food. We want to show you and tell you a little bit about those things so that when you come, you'll be sated not only by the beer, but also by the great, great food they're offering. So let's say Germany is famous for their sausages. And let's take a look at one of their most famous, and that is called the Knotwurst. Tell us what the Knotwurst, it's not N-O-T, and it's not it's K-N-A-C-H-T, something like that.
Right.
What does that mean, you know?
No.
Okay, no problem.
Literal translation, I don't.
What type of sausage is this?
This is a beef and pork sausage.
Beef and pork. Okay, now how is this prepared?
This one is boiled.
Boiled, okay.
It is boiled.
Excellent. Now you're going to see, we're showing all of the elements individually, but you're going to see that the Deutsche House has already arranged different combinations of the meats and the sides, so you can pick and choose a complete plate, which is easier to do rather than just ordering individually. But you can order. I know I didn't have time to stay too long, so I took a huge order to home last week, and the people I shared it with had a great little mini Deutsches Fest, at least from the food standpoint. Okay, that first one was Knotwurst. Another one that you hear a lot about on beer commercials is Bratwurst. Tell us about Bratwurst.
A Bratwurst is a veal and pork sausage.
Okay.
And it's usually grilled.
But don't they somehow marinate in beer or something?
Well, sometimes when you grill it in a beer.
Or maybe it's just a beer dropping. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
But anyway, very tasty, folks. If you've never had, if you're a little afraid to try some of these new, we all stick with our hot dogs or our hot sausage. Give these a try. They're not going to be as peppery, but there are some flavors to them that I think are very delicious. So you can substitute. There's no reason why you can't have one of these instead of a hot dog or with a complete plate. All right, now the last wurst we have is, this is really interesting, called Weisswurst, and this one is actually Weiss. I did know someone told me means white, so right. You can see it hardly is discernible from the plate. But now tell us about this particular, and how is this one prepared?
Yeah, this is a white sausage, which is a veal sausage.
Oh, veal, that's why.
And so it's served boiled as well as grilled, and
okay.
And actually in one area of the house we serve it boiled, in the other area we serve it grilled.
Excellent. Now remember, folks, you can just get these sausages. I'm sure there's some bread if you wanted to make a sandwich, but the preferred way is to actually build a plate, and we're going to show how that goes. There's a couple of more things. One thing, if you just don't like a sausage for some reason, this is a little more delicate things that we can understand, and this is a stuffed cabbage roll. Let's take a look at this and tell us about the stuffing and what we got going in here.
Well, we have a ground meat stuffing wrapped in cabbage leaves.
Okay.
It's also marinated in a sauce, and so this is an entree item, and this is also a very popular item.
Oh yeah, I can see again. A lot of people, we love stuffing things, so this would be a great, great treat. Now, also, there's a couple of more, like I say, for those who don't like sausage, the concept, if that's too much of a fast food concept, they also have 2 slices of pork, ways of serving pork. One of them is pork loin, and this is the other one. This is what, Kessler? Is
Kessler Rippchen, which is a smoked.
It is a hard, let's take it slowly. Kessler Rippchen. That's I don't know how you're going to, if you can't pronounce it, I don't know how you're going to order it, but hopefully you'll see it there and you can tell them that's the one you want. How is this prepared, and what is it?
You can always point to it and we'll know what you're talking about.
Right.
This is a smoked pork chop.
Okay.
And also what we do is we bake it in a pineapple pineapple juice.
Pineapple?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound German.
Well, but it makes it taste really well.
But is that an American tradition?
Well, it's kind of a variation on the German recipe.
You don't want to admit that it's an American tradition.
No.
Okay. But then also there is also a pork loin slice. I think you'll see one of those. I think that's still the same with the other one. Is there another view of the Lipton, or is that one more? Let's move one more forward, and we'll see what a pork loin looks like. So that you can tell from that. There we go. That's a slice of the pork loin. Is that right?
The pork loin is actually served with a mushroom sauce.
Right. We didn't want to. Yeah. We were afraid it would hide it, so that's why. But right. I was going to say this is not served just like this, folks. There is a mushroom kind of gravy that is put on. Correct. Is that a clear or like a creamy gravy?
It's a brown gravy, and also we use a little bit of beer in that also.
Beer in that too?
Yes. We use usually a dark beer.
If you're a non-alcoholic like myself, you're going to have to, I guess, ask about some of these things to make sure you're totally a purist. That some of these, and not all of them have some beer marination or something. So there's a lot that you can get that are not. So don't stay away because you're an abstainer or a teetotal like me. But let's go ahead now. So those are about the main. Oh no, there's one we don't have a picture of. Everybody, as I say always in every restaurant, everybody's got to have chicken. So for those who don't like pork or don't eat veal, don't eat any of the other meats, you can get a beautiful chicken breast there. And how is that prepared? I know definitely a German way, huh?
It's boiled also again in a beer.
Oh, it's boiled in beer too?
It's boiled in beer, and then it's baked, and then we actually have a special little seasoning that we put on top. It's actually used for...
A secret ingredient? What kind of seasoning is it?
The seasoning is actually something that we use with a bratwurst, but we've actually managed to... We put it on the chicken, and it gives it an extra little flavor.
Okay. So, again, folks, if I brought a piece of the chicken home. I didn't eat it. It looked beautiful, but the people ate it said, and I guess I know why now, because it's beer basting. Great. So you have a big variety of meat entrees to mix together or eat as you wish. Now let's look at the sides. Now again, the sides are not going to be. There's one that is done several ways because it's so traditional. And we've already seen one way, and that's the cabbage roll. Well, cabbage is an integral part of the German diet. And one of the first ways we have it is, I believe, the red cabbage, I believe. There's two types, the white or the red. So this is smothered down to with onions and garlic. I could taste all that. Really delicious. Very New Orleans. A lot of New Orleanians cook this anyway and don't even realize it has some German roots. So that's your red cabbage. The white cabbage, they've done two ways. The most famous German dish probably of all is the pickled cabbage, and that's sauerkraut. Can you tell us what is it? Don't tell me it's pickled in beer.
No, it's a marinated. It's in
I think you're fixated here. Tell us about what really sauerkraut is, because some people never. Just the name turns some people off.
Sauerkraut is a marinated cabbage. It's aged. Okay. And it's done with vinegar.
Aged? And like how long is it aged?
Oh, it's for months.
Months?
Actually, a few months. And then it's served with, add some bacon and some couple other little secret ingredients that we have there that we flavored up with, and it's a sauerkraut is a little tartar, but the red cabbage is a little sweeter.
Much
so
sweeter.
If you're looking for something that's a little sweeter, the red cabbage would be something that you would prefer.
Exactly. But again, I know my father, bless his soul, used to eat sauerkraut, but my mother was French and she wouldn't cook German, so he would have to get the store-bought kind. And I tasted it once and I didn't care for it at all. But I have tasted it made here and in other people's homes, or even in a German restaurant, totally different. So, if you want to give it a try, if you like pickled things, really a great variation on cabbage. Now, in addition to that, I know there's I know there's mashed potatoes, but that's not really German, so we did take a picture of this. But the other thing I think that's very famous is their potato salad. Now, we all love our potato salad, and everybody's got their own recipe. Nobody's better than their mama's potato salad. We got a picture. It's going to be hard to see again and blended in with the plate too much, very light. But the key here, folks, is the taste and the preparation. Tell us why, the main reason why German potato salad is so different than any other type.
It's served warm.
Served warm. So don't ask them to take this back and chill it up. Do you have any idea why it was served warm?
No, it's just become a tradition as the way it was served. In Germany, they preferred it cooked and a little bit more with a little extra seasoning in it. Okay. As many Germans as you have, that's many different German potato salad recipes you'll have.
Oh, I'm sure, but predominantly all are served warm.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, folks, we didn't mention we are opening up the phones if you'd like to call in. We started it back since Katrina the last few times. We got some callers. So if you have any questions of Keith and myself about the Oktoberfest or Deutsche House, don't hesitate to call the numbers. Hopefully the director will put them up on the screen, or if you are a frequent watcher, you know what those standard numbers are. So let us know if you want to hear anything more about anything we're talking about. We'll be glad to re-explain it or explain it further. All right, now let's see what else we got. I think we got a few more, not too many more pictures. Well, no, that's about all we've got before we get into desserts. But I know there's some other asides, because again, if you don't like cabbage for some reason, and I can understand it, and you're not a big potato salad fan, I know there was mashed potatoes. Was any other vegetable or something? I think there were some other vegetables.
A smothered cabbage. We also
but I thought there's also some choice of vegetables.
That's basically what that's your choices. I
thought the lady told me there were green beans and stuff. None of that.
No.
Okay. All right. Well, so you got to like potatoes or cabbage, folks. One of the two. There's the limitation.
It's more stick to your ribs kind of food.
Yeah. Remember again, this food is hearty. This is not what we call new cuisine. It's old cuisine, but it's the kind that all Germans and people who love family style food, hearty food, these are the basic substances that you live from before we got real exotic. So the food is always comfort food to everyone. So don't hesitate to try those. You've got enough variety. So let's talk about a plate now. Instead of going through there and picking and choosing one and just ordering one thing, you can do that or take it to go. But Deutsche House has actually arranged a design where you can order a couple of variations of plates. How does that work?
Well, you have the variations are you have an entree and a sausage.
No, when we entree, we're talking about an entree meat.
Correct.
So we're talking about any of those sausage, any of those pork loin, the veal, or the chicken can be served as your entree. Okay, and then what comes with that?
Then a sausage, which you would pick the type of sausage, one sausage.
Okay, so then you choose one of those three sausages,
and then you would have choice of two vegetables.
So the vegetables would be either two cabbages or a cabbage and potatoes.
Correct.
That's it.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. Is there any other plate different than that?
No, well, we also have what they call an imbus stand, which is
what's that?
Imbus, which means it's a small little open air.
That's what imbus means, like Nimbus from the clouds.
That's right. It's a small area we have set up in the back.
So this is actually outside.
This is outside. In
so
the beer
after
garden.
You've had too many beers and you're not able to stagger back into the main frame,
and you don't want a whole plate full of food.
You want to go your local German fast food outlet.
Correct.
So we have a little stand there, which we didn't get a picture of, and I apologize, but it's out in those playground areas we showed. And what do you serve there?
There we also have sausage that you can.
So you can buy the individuals, and they're just served what?
They're served on a bun.
On a bun. I said, okay.
Yes, and then you can also get a pretzel. You can't forget pretzel.
That's something we didn't talk about. No one told me about, because Germans are always known by their pretzels.
That's right. You can't go to the.
There's no pretzels inside.
None inside, but outside is where you can get your pretzels.
Wow, and they're made on site or not?
Made on site.
Wow, are they the big, small?
Yes, they're the large, soft pretzels.
And they come soft.
Yes.
And of course, you can get wash them down with some type of beer, which we'll talk about later. Okay, so folks, we're talking to Keith Ollendorf. He's the president of Deutsche House, which is in 200 block of GALVEZ. I don't know the exact number, but like I say, it runs the whole block. It starts that block, so this is right off Canal Street. You can take one of the streetcars and just hop off. Beautiful old building, built in 1918, I believe he said.
1910.
With a large outdoor beer garden, as well as I know there's a band pavilion. There's these other pavilions for food. There's a lot of dancing and singing, especially with our beautiful weather right now. This is a great time to go. You have a little time left this month. You have this weekend coming up, Friday or Saturday. Opens as early as 5 o'clock. Is there a closing time? I never asked that, Keith.
We close about between 11 and midnight.
11 and midnight, so... Okay, so remember, you can't, it's not an all-nighter. And, of course, post-Katrina, that's pretty darn late for a lot of places because, you know, we really are just getting back to our late-night eating and drinking establishments because there's been such a shortage of staffing. So 11 or 12 on a weekend, there's nothing wrong with that. And, of course, you have live music?
Yes, we do. We have 2 bands that play.
Okay, are they the same all the time, or they rotate?
They rotate. They'll rotate throughout the night. And so we have live music starting at 6 o'clock, and we continue to have that until about 11:30, and so it's always a good time. And then you can't forget the chicken dance because that's real popular, and the kids love it. And you know, you can also, it's an important thing too that you can bring children to the Oktoberfest.
That's something we didn't talk about. It is a family. See, now I didn't even think of that because, you know, I don't have children, so I don't even think. And I was thinking because of all the drinking, you know, potential drinking, that it was strictly an adult venture. But no, tell us.
No, it's not. I mean, that's one of the things that makes it unique is that there are a lot of children that come and a lot of families that come. It's not all just about drinking and beer. It's about having a good time and bringing your kids and coming and enjoying yourself and doing the chicken dance and watching the little kids go out there and enjoy themselves and do the chicken dance.
Well, for those, excuse me, Venera, for those who remember, if any of you all attended our illustrious World Fair back in 1984. There was a German beer garden there, in which now the Federal Fiber Mills building, I believe. In fact, the monorail went right into it. And every night those people would be drinking and doing the chicken dance. So I know if you haven't learned it any other place or at a baseball game, you've learned it there, or you can learn it here because it's practiced many times during the evening. And you know that's such a source of joviality, especially among the children. Are there any special foods or anything else for the children? I mean,
actually, the children seem like the knockwurst is more like a hot dog, so they seem to enjoy that type of stuff.
Well, that's to say that would appeal to them from the normal American food.
Right.
Now, folks, I also wanted to show you, for those who might not know, we've decorated the studio a little bit with some of the flags of Germany, and behind myself and behind Keith. But let's see if we can get a close-up of either one. We'll say which city it represents or region it represents. This one, I thought this was French. I was glad because I'm French and German. I said, "Hey, this is a great combination," but it's not. This is actually Bavaria.
Correct.
Let me get. Is that right?
That's correct. It's the state of Bavaria.
So beautiful colors, a lion and a blue and white background, and the traditional German flag is red, yellow, and black. Is that right?
That's correct.
So behind Keith is the traditional flag. But with the eagle is traditionally the symbol of Berlin? No.
Well, that's the Federal Republic
Federal
of Germany.
Republic. Okay.
Of Germany.
So are these flags still in use today?
Yes. These are the flags that are being used today. This Bavaria with the checkerboard blue and white is characteristic of Oktoberfest. It means October.
Yeah, that's what I've seen so much. That's why I thought maybe they had it in Bavaria more than other places. But now the traditional. So when you're seeing a country flag, it would be the red, yellow, and black with the eagle, or without it?
Well, officially, the government flags are the ones with the eagle on it, and the national flags are the one without.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's great. Okay. So you see, folks, you're learning more and more. These are lovely. And what's great about the Deutsche House is also they have a great little gift shop. That's where I found these things. Keith is wearing a great German hat. I meant to put one in my pack, and I didn't get one, but they sell that. Of course, they sell fabulous beer steins of all shapes and sizes, all kind of compliments. So if you want a real, you can fool some of your neighbors by going in there buying some stuff, and they'll think you've been to Germany. So this is really great that you can go in there and shop and buy things that are mementos. They even had some fleur de lis. They had a lot of things. Great baseball caps, German baseball caps. So that'd be great. Well, folks, what we've done is, like I said, we are talking to Keith Ollendorf. We mentioned that we do have some more special things going on for you to celebrate Deutsche House. And one of those, of course, that we have our accordionist in by the name of Ron Abel. And Ron had done one song for you, and he was accompanied by some of the ladies. Those same ladies are also some of our dessert chefs, our bakers today. So while Ron is going to be doing his second song, then they're going to bring in grace our table with 2 live desserts, something we've never done here on Restaurant Review. We have a couple of them on tape, but we also are going to have 2 live for you to see. So this will be great. And then from that, we'll go back and talk about desserts, beverages, and the rest. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and let Ron Abel take it out and do the second song. And Ron, would you please announce the name of the second song you're going to do, please?
I can play it, but I can't pronounce it.
Can you try, Ron? Very nice. That was Ron Abel and doing another song that he just won't announce for us, folks. I'm hoping these ladies who speak German will whisper in his ear next time and tell him the name of the song that he's playing, because we'd love to be able to tell you what those names are. I mean, most of you people out there, I guess, who are German know it, but I don't, but they sound good. He's doing a great job, but just won't make an attempt at naming the song. Okay, now what we want to do is bring it back to us. And we're going to go ahead and start with desserts. As we mentioned to you that we have a couple of desserts on file. When I had to leave last week, I really left before what is called the dessert ladies, no, the cake ladies, of which these 2 represent. And what they do is, everything I believe is donated anyway, but they actually donate their services in making their specialty in German cakes that they offer to the public, in addition to the desserts that we have on film. So let's go ahead and first of all, let's go back to our pictures. And one of the most famous German desserts is called strudel. Strudel. And we have 2 types of strudel, apple and cherry. Let's take a look at apple. Now, this is, and there's a lot of, I'm very familiar with the French pastry. I had a French pastry shop, and I know strudel is like a wonderful golden brown dough. It's a little heavy, and it's stuffed, and it's glazed. You want to tell us anything more about this?
No, it's delicious.
Delicious. I'm not a big fan of cooked apples, so I went to the other one. Let's take a look at the other one. The other one is actually cherry strudel, and I can attest this was divine. So these come out in huge squares, and they cut them slices for you for dessert. And I would hardly recommend the cherry one. The apple I can, because I'm not. But it's great dough. It's not heavy. It's heavy, but it's not like bread. It's just and a wonderful glaze to give it a sweetness. Okay, but besides that, like I say, what I would prefer, and had I been there long enough, was to try or sample some of the ladies' cakes. Some of them are standardly, some are different each week, so that's what's nice about it. So we're going to ask our cameramen to come in close for a couple of views, if they can, of these two great desserts that the lady has brought us. And maybe I can hold it up without. Let's see. How's that? Is that good, bad, or the other? Better leave it down. All right. What this one is, folks, is actually another apple. This is a tort. Both of these are torts. Torts is almost like a pie. This is cooked apple again, but also with shaved walnuts, powdered sugar, cheese on the inside, and a pie dough on the outside. So this is lovely. I thought it was chocolate because it looks so pretty, but at the same time, it's not. Now this one, of course, is even better with regard to for coloration. So this is a fruit tart, obviously, for those who've ever seen one. And the ladies here put magnificent strawberries around the border. In the center, it has magnificent raspberries and blackberries. Those aren't blueberries. Blackberries, my favorite. Inside is cream cheese. Very different. It's not a light cream filling like the French would do, cream cheese. And then it's surrounded on a bed of a sponge cake. So this is really, really nice. And we really appreciate the ladies. And, of course, we're going to sample a little bit of this after. We don't want to eat in front of you. But those show you some of the desserts. So it's not just the food. You have sweets, whether it's for the kids or for yourself to finish off the meal. Again, we know those meals are heavy, so you might not, but try and save room for a slice of one of these desserts because they are good. Now, the other thing that we need to talk about are beverages. Now, we have really a specialist here on beer. We've got a picture of a couple of the beers, if you want to see that. You see that one is a light and one is a dark. But we really have to know a little bit more about it because Germany is so famous for its beers, especially Oktoberfest. And so we brought in Mr. Ernie Spreen, and he's going to tell us a little bit about all the different types of beers, and then we'll finish up with Keith on other beverages for those who don't want to do the beer route. But remember, this is what starts everybody off. The clinging of the glasses is where all the singing, all the dancing come from. So this is the key to the Oktoberfest. And Ernie, tell us a little bit about all the wonderful beers that you serve at Deutsche House.
Well, thanks, Bob. Naturally, part of the primary focus is, as you said, on the beer. And the house offers 20 different brands of beer, varying in styles from the lighter colored Munich Helles, light-bodied, golden-colored, balanced beer. Also, they have a golden Pilsner, German Pilsner.
What does Pilsner mean? Do you know, Ernie?
Yes. Well, Pilsner, the name comes from the town it originated in, which is Pilsen, Czechoslovakia.
Oh.
It's a light beer in color and in body. It leans more to the hoppy bitterness flavor. Okay. The distinct hop aroma as well. Also, they have a Weissen beer, which is a wheat beer made with malted wheat. It's a cloudy beer. It has tones of citrusy. It's very refreshing. And a generous head as well. It's very good for our climate if it's in a warm night. Naturally, there's also the Oktoberfest, the traditional beer of the festival. It's a amber-colored beer, medium-bodied. It's got a nice high balance with the sweetness and, of course, that distinctive Munich malt flavor. We also have a Dunkel, which is dark, means dark in German. It's not as heavy as it would appear to be. It's also a nice beer, but it's got more of the roasted flavor from the malt. The heaviest of all is the Doppelbox. We have a couple of those on tap, and those are rich, deep amber colored with a very nice sweetness and a healthy bit of alcohol as well.
Well, I have two questions for you. How does one... since they have such a variety, unless they really have been drinking beers all along and have that access to the variety, how does one know where to start or how to sample? Is there any kind of sampling going on? So that way they can try to find out which type, whether they like a lighter or a darker beer?
Pretty much in the order in which I gave them to you. Okay. The lighter colored beers not necessarily mean lighter bodies, but in this case they are. They're lighter bodies, they're more less alcohol. You'd want to start with something that doesn't overwhelm your taste buds and doesn't also intoxicate you immediately. So the Pilsner, the Munich, then go up to the Oktoberfest, and then perhaps end with the Bach.
So you don't do as the contemporary drinkers today, these beer shots, so that the way they can line up all the beers and shoot ones down. You don't do that, right? We're
No.
still with tradition right now, huh?
That's correct. That's
okay.
correct.
Lastly, about that, as I've always heard, just like the potato salad, that most of the beers, especially the dark beers in true Oktoberfest, are served warm, not cold. How is that? Is any different here?
That's not exactly true. They're not warm.
I've heard lies.
They're warmer than what we're traditionally used to.
And is that because of lack of refrigeration or deliberate?
I think it's because of tradition.
Okay.
If you go over there, the refrigeration is at a premium. They just happen to live in a colder climate. So cellar temperature for them is in the 30s.
So they would use, like we would use a red wine to warm up with the warmer beer. Is that right? You think?
Somewhat.
But here we're all cold. Cold German-American beer.
We serve cold, probably 34 degrees.
30, okay.
But the more you get to the ice cold temperatures, the less taste that your taste buds become.
Right. Well, now one last thing I know you wanted to mention. Ernie didn't become this knowledgeable just through drinking all of his life. He actually is a member of a group that meets in Deutsche House and really explores the whole logic of beer and go. Tell us what's the name of that group, please.
We're the Crescent City Homebrewers, and we make our own beer, as well as we try to promote the responsible drinking and knowledge of what beer is composed of and how to enjoy it.
Great. Well, Ernie, we thank you very much for giving us a pretty in-depth view of all, even though we didn't, and I apologize for not having more pictures, but I figured I'd take the two gamuts, the light and the dark, to show you the extremes. But as you mentioned, it seemed like he rattled off about 7 or 8 different types in between. So you can really taste your way through the beer cycle to find out what gravitates to you, the sweetness, the bitterness, the coloring, whatever you like. The important thing here is they're all housed in one place. You don't have to, you might be able to find some of these, I guess, in bottle or maybe on tap at other places. But why not drink it at the appropriate place here at Deutsche House? So once again, Keith, why don't you tell us again, for the children or for people like myself who don't get the privilege of drinking something with alcohol, what else would, and I know you have other alcoholic drinks like wine, so tell us the rest of the beverages that are offered at Deutsche House, please.
Well, of course, we have soft drinks, and we have our own bottled water, and we have some lighter drinks and wines. We have one of the more popular, the Riesling German-style wines.
And that's the white wine, right?
White wines, yes.
Served chilled.
Served chilled.
Okay.
We also have a German apple wine, which is a little bit different.
Is that sweeter?
Less sweet, a little tart.
A little tart, okay.
And actually, to cut some of that tartness, we actually mix it with a little soft drink. It kind of lightens it up, refreshing. Makes it a nice little beverage to drink, especially
like
if
a
it's
spritzer.
warm. It's like a spritzer, yes.
Oh, right,
yes.
right.
And actually, surprisingly enough, we have beer spritzers that we also make. Actually, in Germany, those seem to be real popular now, and so we also offer a beer spritzer. So we'll give you a beer with a little carbonated drink, and it makes it a little bit lighter. It makes it a little bit more refreshing.
Okay. And we said we had some sodas and bottled water for the non-drinker, right?
Yes, we did.
Okay. All right, folks, we've been talking to Keith Ollendorf. He is the president of Deutsche House. We've had several of his members on to give you more information about Deutsche House. We're going to recap real quickly before we go back to our musician and our lovely ladies to finish off the show. But as we said, Dargis House has been a tradition around here since the early 1900s. The building dates back to 1918. What it's become, because New Orleans had such a large German population, it's become a haven, an umbrella really, for a lot of German entities and organizations that meet and do good work throughout our city, as well as just socially among themselves. And they specifically offer Oktoberfest to the public, so that way you could meet and greet not only the Germans of our city, but also taste and drink along with them. So every weekend from the last weekend of September through the last weekend of October, Deutsche House presents Oktoberfest. They also, before Katrina, had a magnificent parade, I understand. Unfortunately, because of finances right now, they haven't brought that back, hopefully for next year. But even more importantly, as we said earlier with the gentleman we brought on, is that Deutsche House is somewhat in danger. Maybe somewhat is underplaying it because of the wonderful progress our city is going through and the potential explosive growth of the biomedicine community. New land has to be applied toward the expansion of the medical corridor down from Claiborne Avenue. And as part of that, it does entail the usurping of the land in which Deutsche House is on. So there is a campaign going on called Save the House. We want you, as we said earlier, to go on the website, www.savethehouse, spelled H-A-U-S, and .org. Don't forget, usually not-for-profits or private organizations, or .org, not .com. And please, if you can, put some good words about saving the house, or in your opinion, because there's no reason why the good neighbor policy cannot apply, and that means there's no reason why the fabulous growth of this biomedical complex cannot be done alongside and in condition with using this entertainment venue along with some others to actually bring some additional life, because whether it's the patients, whether it's the employees, or it's the families, all of those need sustenance and entertainment, especially if it happens to be a long medical stay. So why not include this along with a little expansive corridor, because all those basic services are going to be necessary for the people who visit or actually work in the biomedical complex. So we're hoping that the two can coexist. We know from the Deutsche House it certainly can. We hope that the Sleeping Giant will also recognize that situation. But it would not hurt for you to help out by a simple annotation on the computer. If you don't have a computer, you can certainly send an email, you can send a snail mail to Deutsche House. Just put 200 block of GALVEZ. Don't worry, they'll find it. They'll get to New Orleans 70119 or anything like that. Just once you put that much information, it's been such a long-standing thing, it'll get there. We want you, like I say, not only to patronize the website and patronize the support. We're going to do our best to maybe get one of our artists to actually create a poster for them. We're hoping to do that as a fundraiser, more not so much for the financial part of it, but the ability to get well known, the validity, the historical significance of Deutsche House to our community, so it will persevere into the next centuries. We want to tell you, like I say, so please attend, go through them, and through the rest of the weekend. You've got another Friday and Saturday, and that's it left to go, so do that. Now, before we throw it away to our musician, as for upcoming restaurants, as you know, we've been trying to get some new ones for you. We've got a great little new Italian bistro cafe, coffee shop right in my neighborhood called Il Posto. A lovely lady by the name of Madison who came from New York to make, even though she's a New Orleanian, worked since Katrina to make a great little place with wonderful coffees, breakfast, wonderful lunches. So we've got that. We've got a slew of new ones opening up, and we're hoping to bring them to you. But as you know, we'll also be interspersing with them artists. And again, we would love for you all to send us some information for musicians. We've had a hard time since Katrina to get musicians on our show. Our website, don't forget, is rrevue.com. That's rrevue.com. So you can send us any email, any questions you want. I'm hoping our webmaster will get all of the archival. Because of Katrina, she got set back. We need to put all of our archival films on there, so that way you can go and see any show. Right now, there's only one show you can see, but as soon as we get that up, you'll be able to see a new show or any previous show that you might have missed. So you not only can see the music talent, you can see the restaurant, or you can see maybe an artist if we're doing that. All right, well, without further ado, we're going to see you next week as usual. But let's go ahead, and we want to turn it over to our accordionist, Ron Abel. And as we said, she's got two lovely ladies. Even though they're cake ladies, they're doing their best to entertain you. And if I can remember how to say their names right, that's Frau Friedel Orway and Frau Eva Sadlier, which is French, as we know. Okay, if one of those ladies will have told Ron, hopefully in his ear, Ron, please, all I can do is beg you, tell us the name of at least your last song before you go out. Take us out, and we'll see you all next week at the restaurants.
Okay, I think I can pronounce this one. The Happy Wanderer.
Mein Vater war ein Wandersmann. Das ist in Deutsch natürlich.
Yeah.
Very nice, Ron. Let's see, do we still have time? If so, can Ron take us out with one more song? Could you give us one more?